right? So it's a bit of a new one. I feel like Bodybuilding Room 101. I'm not going to say I'm bored of it, but I feel like we're getting a lot of the same sort of stuff. So just a bit of a new format. We're just going to sort of simplify and have like Q&As and try and cover topics and things that will be like useful for people and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think a lot of people find it like the room 101, that's a really good idea. But like when you bring someone on with a little bit more of a broad, like when you put someone on the spot and you're like, right, you got to do a 3 points, and they're like, oh, like, whereas if you just say, you just come in and chat, sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I think the purpose of it was always just to like give us a couple of talking points, but then it leads you into more like open water kind of thing, doesn't it? But I don't necessarily know if we need that work. We got plenty to talk about anyway, and so yeah.
Especially the people we bring on, it's always it's always people that we've got a lot to talk to.
Definitely, yeah. It was good with Ryan. Was it last night? Wasn't it? It was last night.
Last night, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good with him as well. It's always nice to hear people's perspective. And do you know what? Like what I'm realizing about like speaking with people is like you may think that you are different with a lot of other people, but actually we all kind of think the same stuff.
Yeah.
We kind of all train the same and we kind of all think the same stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very rare to find someone who doesn't agree with the things that we think. Do you know what I mean?
Or is that because we bring people from the same circles?
Maybe. Yeah.
Like if we bring on, I don't know, someone that's like scuba.
Physique. Yeah, maybe we're like we're sort of cherry picking people that we know are gonna be that. But it would feel weird.
Then why would you want someone else? You know, you want right when you talk about the good bodybuilders, we're bringing on the good bodybuilders. We don't want those people that, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I think. I really like the caliber of people we've had on. It's been great. But as I say, like we all kind of just agree. And what hasn't been said on the podcast is that a lot of times I'm actually messaging them before they come on, telling them not to talk about specific things because we get the same stuff. So I'm literally saying, we've already had this one like quite a lot, so maybe like skip it, you know? So I feel like it was like the natural progression. It just felt like it was, I'm not going to say it was getting worse, but it just felt right to maybe change it up now, you know what I mean?
I think so, because there's only so many things you can talk about that are annoying, you know? And I think that did its purpose. It was very good for what it was, for like the 20 episodes that we had. But like, it kind of, it doesn't have a like lifespan of like that long of a, you know.
I agree, mate.
And I think also as we're coming on more into our preps and things like that, there's going to be other shit that we want to talk about.
Definitely. I think even like I always think about like the listener, like how can you actually make it worthwhile? So not just like quite like, you know, you can pass time, but also something that they can take away, like something that, you know, a specific mindset like thing that you do on prep, or a specific methodology with dieting, or something. If someone can take something from it, it's great, you know.
I love watching podcasts. It's always like, what are the top 5 podcasts that you enjoy watching?
Do you know? I've just got into it recently. PBD podcast. So it's not nothing to do with bodybuilding.
Okay, no, I won't know it then.
Yep. Hold on a minute. I listened to it last night, and as I was, PBD. So I don't know if you've seen him. This guy, he interviewed Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman.
Yes, I know him.
You know the guy, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
I think his name's like Patrick or something.
Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, you know that guy, yeah.
I've seen those 2 podcasts, but because it's about bodybuilding.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's how I came into contact with him, because he did that. But then he just does stuff with like interesting people, and it's like quite political, which is completely off topic. But yeah, I like that. But then I like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I like Cutler Cast. But my favorite one is absolutely Bro Chat.
Yeah.
It's the most entertaining. It's the most fun, you know?
That's it. When you've got like, I feel like a lot of the stuff that's like informational, we already kind of know.
Yes.
It's nice to hear it from the pro bodybuilder, but we're kind of like, yeah, okay, well, I know that.
Yeah, but you know what it is? If you and me had even someone on and we're talking about like specifics about a certain show or something, it's good. But when they talk about it, because of their level, it is just that much more. It engages you a lot, doesn't it? You know, when they're talking about like criteria at Olympia. I don't know if you've seen recently. They're talking about like posing being judged more.
Yeah.
Because they're like really high level judges. They're fucking high level competitors. The high level coaches.
Do you think that's a good idea, though, to make posing that much of a factor?
I see both sides of the fence. Like at the moment, I feel like, why is it even there? If it's not judged at all, why is it even there? Like, for example, someone like Ian Valier, he's quite shit at posing.
He is.
But he doesn't get marked down for it. And I think there's some people that put a lot of effort into that. And I think there should be something about that.
But some people just aren't naturally just good posers. It's like they're just not artistic.
I guess so, mate. But then try.
Yeah.
Like, so think about, again, like my brain goes.
Did you watch Nick Walker's Olympia routine at finals?
Yes.
Right. That looked so. He put a lot of effort into it. He made it nice, but like when he would do like the one knee and it's just like, bro, that looks weird for someone like you know?
Yeah, because he's got that fucking blocky physique. I'm really sorry, mate. My dog is doing my nuttings.
Right.
Come on. Then when you look at someone like Samson, pose, it's like, it's not too flouncy, because for me, I don't know about you as well, I really hate it when it's too artistic. Like, should we say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. And I think a lot what you get, a lot of the amateur classic bodybuilders.
Yeah.
That's where you get that shit. And it's like, and what we said about it last night, like the guys that put the most effort into posing have the worst physique.
It's very rare that you get like both. It does happen, but it's like, it's like unicorn shit.
Do you remember that guy? He was a junior that we watched at the PCA, a black guy.
Yes.
That came out, and we both were like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Do you know he's natty as well?
I know.
What the fuck? He looked amazing, didn't he? He really did look good. He really did.
We both were like, right, he can win the overall, depending on who's in.
He did win the overall, didn't he?
He did, yeah, he did.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. We should shout him out, really.
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, he was good. He's good.
Very good. But so that's one of those things that he's got the physique to pose, you know?
Do you find that a lot of times when people are getting into these like classic shots, I hate that, classic shots, but their physique looks shit. Yes, you're doing the pose, but you look small, or it exposes a weakness on you. Like they'll do some like variation like that, and you just.
Isn't the whole point of classic posing that hiding the weaknesses? Isn't that what Arnold was about? So he obviously, he had the blocky waist. So what did he do? He did the
right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the point. It's not just about hitting a pose that Arnold hit and calling it a classic pose. It's about what makes your physique flow well.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's one thing that classic guys do, and I really hate it. Like, you know, the feet placement when you're posing, right? You put your thumbs outwards and you sort of like put the pressure towards the side of your leg.
Right.
Classic guys, they'll put their legs together and they'll almost dip one knee inwards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm on about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I fucking hate it. Like in fact, I think Frank Zane, right?
I think we should talk about posing a little bit, actually, because you're a fairly good poser. You are good at posing. You've helped me a lot with posing, so I think that can be useful.
Yeah, I think when I think about my own posing, what I would say is, I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's not many bells and whistles, so to speak, but I feel like I'm good at the mandatories.
I think you're very good at the shots that matter, and so for example, your quarter turns.
Yeah,
they are. Very important because that's the first thing that judges see. Yes. So when you get a guy that comes in and you know what, some of the shit that you see, you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's almost like that throws off the whole. Because if the judge looks at you and you're like, if you completely butcher the quarter turn, well, from that point on, you're not even getting looking.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to keep talking about this, but I just want to show you that dip leg that I'm on about.
Yeah,
I hate that because it makes your leg look soft and small.
Yeah,
it's a nice pose, but I don't know. That's really important. How many shows did you go to last year? Quite a few, I think you went to. Didn't
Loads,
you?
Yeah, probably 15 to 20.
And in your opinion, how fast? So let's say they walk out. There's like 10 of them. How fast is your mind made up? You kind of already know the top three, and how quickly does that happen for you?
Well, as soon as they get in their front relaxed, when they line them up and they get in the front relaxed, I'm like, right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And we even did that when we was at shows together. You'll be sat there and we're like, right, who's your top three, and we'll call it there and then. And typically that's how it goes.
Yeah, I would say almost. I think pretty much every show I went to, I got the top 3 right, but I didn't get the order right. So
The order, yeah.
it's always obvious who's in the top 3.
Yeah.
But sometimes it might be second instead of first, but yeah, I would say honestly, it's like the decision is probably made within most of the decisions made within 10 seconds, within 5 to 10 seconds for sure.
But is that because the lineups weak, or is that because
yeah.
Okay, let's say if you got 10 guys that are like, okay, take the universe, you go to the universe, everyone's good, so you're like, well, who the fuck's gonna win?
Yeah, it's definitely harder when they're all good. Yes, you're right, but
so
I still think people stand out though. They just do.
Yeah.
Do you know what, like, it's something I call the mum test, and it's like the most basic way of putting it, right? I keep talking about my mum, I talk about my mum. But if you showed your mum a photo of a lineup, who would she pick? She would go. She has not a clue, and she would go him. There's just someone. They just stand out, right?
Yeah.
And there are some people that have that. Do you know what I mean?
What are the hardest shots for you? So, what are your not your worst shots, but your kind of like the ones you most struggle with?
Funny enough, right? This is weird because I always thought of it as one of my stronger poses, but recently my delts are actually making it shit. So my front lat spread is actually worse than it was probably 2 years ago because of tightness in my shoulders. It's hard for me to actually get into that position.
Maybe you need to get massage then.
100%. I need to work on flexibility, mobility.
You're probably just really tight, so you just need to loosen that muscle up. That's what it is. But that will get done through massage.
Yeah, I need to be more serious about that. At the moment, I feel like I'm not taking it seriously enough. So at the moment that is, but without question, I know the answer. The answer is 100% side tricep. Why? Side tricep is just awkward for me. It's just not a good pose. From the side, I'm not that great anyway. And my mobility again, like to reach round to my other hand. Yeah.
Have you thought about hitting it like that?
Like so you do the side chest and then you put your arm down.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
Is that allowed, or would you get marked down for that? Or the side tricep from the front? I feel like that would look good for you because you've got a really good midsection.
Yeah, I do. You may or may not remember. I did that this year.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
I do it because I'm not very good from the side, so I kind of trying to stand out. But I don't know. I just don't really like that one on me in general, and because of that, I do it less. And if I do it less, I'm worse at it.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know.
I feel like your side chest has come on a lot.
Yeah, it seems to be okay. It seems I've hit it. I think it really matters sometimes the lighting that you're in. Like sometimes you hit it and it's like I look small and flat, and then sometimes I'm like fucking hell. Like I don't know. Yeah. What about you? What would you say is the answer for you?
Your camera cut off. What did you say?
I'd say what would you say the answer is for you?
What's my hardest?
Yeah, like what's your worst looking and hardest to do? Both.
Probably for me. Do you know what? I've never felt like the ab and thigh was a good shot for me because my abs are so shallow, and so that like when I pull up and I do a front double bicep, they like kind of like stretch out. Yeah. But if I flex them in, they're just shallow. So I'm training really hard at the minute.
I think that might be a body fat issue. Do you not think?
Potentially.
Like the leaner you get, the more that won't be a thing.
Potentially, but I still can't feel them like in a way that like I can't feel them like they're deep and thick.
Hey, look, get your phone up now. I'll keep talking to not make it boring for people watching. Right, I've got a client called Sam, and he has this problem. So he goes to pull an ab and thigh, stretches up, and then crunches down. When he stretches up, his abs are good. When he crunches down, they look worse.
Yeah,
like what you've just described. Yeah,
I'm just that. Yeah.
Right, so
back, what I used to do is I used to like hit it from the side, like like with the
just one.
And when you were like, oh, you're like, I don't know, I'm not really sure because I sent you some pictures. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think so. Here's what he looks like when he stretches up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's got a very similar structure to me as well, doesn't he? That long waist.
Yeah. And then here's what he looks like when he crunches it down. Don't worry, it's not night and day difference, but it's just not as good.
Yeah, but look how much narrower his lats look here.
Yeah. For those watching,
Do you not think if you leant forward a little bit, that would look better?
maybe I've got the video as well, so I can see him doing it in real time, and it just I don't know, something doesn't click in his head. But I think it's because he's not quite lean enough yet. He's still like 8 weeks out.
Could be.
He's still 8 weeks out, so it just needs a bit more time.
His
so
legs are probably still. He probably needs to get them a little bit closer together. Do you not think, to close those gaps?
It's a funny one. So that's a good thing to talk about as well. So leg positioning, if it's too wide, there's a gap. But then if it's too close, you end up like throwing off the proportions.
Yeah, hiding your adductors as well.
Yeah, there. But if you've got wide shoulders, you and I both have, he has as well. If you have your legs close together, it ends up making your legs look small comparative to your clavicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that can throw off the physique as well. So it's a balancing act between not too wide, not too close.
Would you have your adductors just touch?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, always. Yeah, just right at the top before your nutsack.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're touching a little bit there, I think it's about right.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see people turn their feet out weirdly as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's to get that outer sweep, isn't it? But it just looks awkward if you overdo it as well.
Yeah, but you can just kind of like step on your toes almost, kind of like on your
Yeah, you like twist your feet outwards. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like step on the outsides of them, like.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny, man. I think sometimes people are trying so hard to do something that they ruin the look in the process. So some guys are trying so hard to make their back look detailed. They'll crunch. They'll like squeeze up their back. Have you seen people do that? Or
I have.
Yeah, or they're trying to make their
like you're not even opening up.
No, it's
like I want to see you open up.
Yeah, it's so mad. They're trying to make themselves look bigger and they make themselves look smaller.
Do you think that's from lack of thickness though? Because they think, well, it's going to look thicker.
Yeah, I think it's just lack of experience. Because the more you do it, the more you realize that doesn't look good. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
If I saw someone doing that, I would think they were a newbie.
So you can do that in a transition. So I actually really like the way my back, that picture I posted, did you see that, right? So my back in this, that's like a transition, right?
Yeah. You're about to pull back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So almost like, because you could see it, like, because I'm almost like squeezing it, so you could see everything kind of like pops. But that's not something you would show on as a pose. You wouldn't. Well,
I think that transitions, that's why they're really important. When people talk about transitions, it doesn't just mean how you move into it. It means like setting the pose up.
Yeah.
So your lat spread can end up turning into like 4 poses if you think about it, right? So what you just did there, the setup, like flare your lats, but kind of like, kind of tense but not. Then you pull back like a seated row.
A Christmas tree.
Yep. Then you put your arms down.
Yeah.
And then you've got the lat spread. So you actually turn it into like 4,
Yeah.
So you can show width and detail.
I think sometimes like people do that and then you almost like waste too much time.
Yeah. Oh,
I hate that. You know, when you see that on stage and you're like, someone's like there, like everyone's in their fucking pose and that guy's still flapping about and it's like, come on.
Oh, that's a pet hate of mine. I hate that. Like you have to move with grace, so to speak. You know what I mean? You don't want to move all like blocky and shit, but also efficiently. You know, if you're fucking around too much, how can they compare you when you're not even in pose?
Yeah.
You know I mean?
Sometimes, especially like at the PCA, they rush it. They rush the shot so much.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, so at that point, if you're taking your time to get in the shot, like take your time to get in the shot in your individual.
What do you think would happen if they, let's say PCA, just hypothetically, they did one of their rounds, and how long did it take? It takes like a minute, doesn't it? They come to a decision quick.
Probably. Yeah.
Let's say then everyone left the stage, and then they came back on again, and they did it again. Do you think the result would be exactly the same? What I'm trying to say is, do you think that first impression is always your second impression as well? Because sometimes you might look at a physique and think, actually, I don't know.
Depends on the lineup. So if you got your class lineup compared to a first timers lineup,
I see.
So that's why at the higher level shows you got a morning and a night show.
Yeah, you need more time to look and digest it. Because I know that for a fact, like at higher level shows, like my mind changes. I'm like, that guy's winning. And then by the end of the posing round, I'm like, I don't know if he is anymore.
And you know, do you remember at the Manchester FitX, when you came out, you were sweating quite a lot.
Me?
So yeah. So you had like that, yeah. So by the end, you actually looked harder, and you looked like at the finals, you know, you looked loads better.
Yeah. Well, for the overall, you mean?
For the overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually know what you mean. I know what you mean.
It was almost like at the your class, it was like you come out and you're like, okay, he's on the money, he looks good. But because you were pushing out so much water, I think you obviously pushed out all the water that was in there. So when you came out to finals, everyone just weren't even looking. They were like, right, okay, he's first, like who's second? Yeah. It was that apparent. Like it wasn't like it was even not even a competition.
Yeah. Well, do you know, it's funny when people talk about sweating on stage, they assume that means because you're not in shape. But honestly, like I feel like I was in shape, number one, and I swear every show that I ever do. But I think it's just, you know, if you're a sweaty person or not. You know what I mean? I
just being a bigger person. Think like if you're 180 pounds and you're like, oh, I don't sweat. Yeah, because you're 180 pounds.
Exactly that.
You know?
The bigger you are, the more likely you are to sweat. I sweat all the time. Even like sat here now, I've got wet armpits. Like
I sweat a lot. I always usually sweat. Yeah,
always. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a thing as well. So maybe like those quick posing rounds aren't necessarily the best because then someone could start getting better with time.
Yeah, but does that really matter in a PCA level? Like amateur, regional, like no.
Maybe for like the finals and universe and things. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, how did it run at the universe?
No, at universe it was like just as fast.
Really?
Yeah, it was just as fast because there was so many competitors. There was, if I'm not mistaken, there was over 20 different countries represented there.
But this is the thing. Like when they run shows like that you want to give it time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost like, you know, in a powerlifting comps, that's how it's done. Do you remember yours when you'd done yours? It was kind of like, I think it was like the lightweights in the first day.
Yeah.
So like when we turned up for your classes, it was like everyone was like well over 100 kilos.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was in they're called flights, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's it's a 2-day contest.
I actually didn't know that. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. So mine was on a Sunday.
Yes, but so it's Saturday and a Sunday.
Oh, okay. That's news to me. I didn't even know that. I guess I wasn't even paying attention to other people, you know?
No, probably not. but that's how they run a lot of them.
Yeah. I think that the speed at which they run shows, I think that needs to be addressed. But I don't really know how else you can do it. But I think one of the problems is with shows is they start too late. They start at 11. Imagine if they started at like 9 instead.
8. Yeah.
8 or 9. Yeah, imagine then you could have more time and the athletes get a bit more time. I don't know.
And at that point, I'd probably have like all the beginner classes and like the female classes. And then towards midday, you'll have like the big bodybuilders. Like at 12, you'll have like the open bodybuilders. And after that, you can have like men's physique and whatever. So by about 3-ish, you're starting to wrap up.
Yeah, definitely. You know, when a show ends at like, I think you've been to like wasn't it a Pure Elite? You were there till like 10 o'clock at night.
I hate going to that show. So last time when one of my clients was at it, I was literally like, so when me and Josh were doing it last year, he was doing it. We were there till like 1 a.m. in the morning.
1 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m.
Wow.
It started at 11.
Was it because it was just so slow, or was it just so many people?
Mate, it's because it's retarded. It's because it's run stupidly. So what they do, is they'll bring the classes out, and these classes, there's like 30 people in each class, because everyone signs up in every single class because they're like, oh, if I don't win this one, So everyone signs up in these classes, and every class is the same people, and you're like, I just literally watched you go on stage like 2 years ago. So it's like, that's for one. And they don't tell you there and then, right, you won, you lost. They will bring you back out at finals.
Yeah.
So that makes the show twice as long. And they got these stupid like parades and just bullshit. It's like, now everyone like line everyone and make them like walk in like circles. bro, it's retarded. Like you could never make me do something like that. No,
there's no way. There's no way I'd do that. Was that Pure Elite? Was it? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Pure Elite. Yeah.
No. I just no way I would. I actually did a show like that. I done UKUP in 2016.
Yeah.
And that's how it was run. So yeah, you're judged, and then they bring you out for finals and like give you like medals and shit. Hey, check this out. In that show, right, I was the only bodybuilder in the overall.
Right.
So everyone was like muscle model, junior physique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was the only bodybuilder. So all of the other guys had board shorts on and stuff. They did a competition, best legs of the day.
Oh.
Right? I was the only guy that you could see their legs. The only guy. I didn't win.
You didn't win?
They gave it to a guy wearing shorts. Explain
Oh.
that one to me. Explain that one to me. The guy with the best leg was wearing shorts. Fucking hell. Yeah, that was weird, mate.
It is stupid. Like, and again, like, I'm almost like, anytime one of my clients wants to do it, I'm almost like, oh, fucking hell. I'm almost embarrassed to like turn up there and like be seen. And it's like, I'm always like, I'm never like fat, but we know what we're like, how we come up in like in a t-shirt, you look quite big. And then people come up to you like, oh, what class are you competing in? I'm like, I'm not competing. Imagine being asked to what class you're competing in.
So you've been like, you're basically like off season, like peak height of your weight, and they're asking you if you're competing on that day.
So last time we done it, I started dieting in like May, and the show was in July. It was July 4th. So I was actually in a decent shape, and I was walking around like in like a t-shirt, and it was really hot. So I took it off, and it was like a vest, like a which I never wear vest, but funny enough, that time I had on. And people were like, "What class are you doing?" I was like, "Bro, I'm not going to be in this." I'm like,
"Wow, oh my god!" Was there actually anyone in proper shape?
No,
not one.
Not even one.
What was that category that makes me laugh? There's one of the names. What's it called?
Mums that lift.
Isn't there another one as well, like to do with tattoos or something like that?
Oh yeah, the tattoo model.
Tattoo model and mums that lift. Look.
So you've got muscle model. They do muscle model. They do. So for the men's classes, they do muscle model. They do fitness model. And this is the thing as well. They have like, there's not just one class. It's like 30 classes, because they're like muscle model short, muscle model tall, fitness model short, fitness model tall. And then they got tattooed fitness model. So it's like,
oh my
God. It's like, yeah. So
and the funny thing is, they're all in each other's. You say the same.
They are the same people. Yeah. So it's like in like backstage, the conversation is going like this. Oh, how many classes are you doing, bro? 6. Oh, I'm doing 7. That's how it goes.
Oh my God. And then, so how demoralizing is it? Then you're stood next to a dude that just beat you in 3 other classes.
But you don't know that. You don't find out until the end.
Oh shit, yeah. Oh my God, imagine.
And because the end's so late, towards the end, bro, there's like 5 people in the audience. No one want to fucking sit there like that.
That is woeful. Absolutely woeful.
It's terrible.
But listen, if you're a mum and you want to lift, cool. But I can't help but cringe like fuck. Now, someone watching this could go, oh, let them do what they want. Yeah, I guess so. But like, that's it's not bodybuilding, is it? It's not. Maybe they don't want to be called bodybuilders. They will call
themselves bodybuilders. Like, I'm a bodybuilder.
Okay.
You're like, no.
Okay, fair enough. If they don't, I guess you've got to remove your bodybuilder brain and just take it like it's its own thing, isn't it? It's a thing unto itself. It's nothing to do with bodybuilding. It's just a thing.
Yeah,
I just can't wrap my head around it.
It's funny because like my client, she could actually go on a PCA show and do well. She gets super lean, but she just likes to do the Pure Elite. So because she wins it all. So she was like, wouldn't you do the Pure Elite? I was like, I almost like took it as an insult. I was like, me. I was like, no. She's like, why not though? If you're in shape, I'm like, because it's the Pure Elite. Like, it's almost like, why would I? Because you're in shape, so why wouldn't you? Like, it's like, even if you to say like, you've done it. I was like, that's not that's not something to brag about. Almost, like I said to her, that's not really. I mean, look, I don't want to say that because I have a bunch of clients that like to do it, but I don't know. It's not an achievement, bro. And like, you know,
hey, listen, you're allowed to have an opinion just because they've got their opinion and they like it. But your opinion is it's fucking dog shit, right?
no, but they don't know. They don't. So I say to her, like, you need to, huh?
They don't know that you think that way. Well, if they watch this,
No, they do. They do. Because, well, look, I would never do it. And if you ask me, I'm not like, oh yeah, it's a great thing to do. It's a great show. But if you're someone that like diets and gets them on stage and like whatever, I'll show you. You would have seen her on my Instagram. Like, but I don't know. I just don't see that and think, yeah, like she gets in shape.
Yeah. What's her name? Have I seen her on that? Is it Pompey Lady?
Jodie, yeah, Jodie. So
yeah,
she looks way past pure elite. Her posing's not great. She doesn't know how to pose, but if she did,
but that must not be. That's not satisfying, is it? If you stand up there and everyone else is not in shape and you win, it's like,
yeah,
it's not. That's not fun, is it? You know what I mean?
No,
or is it? Or is it? I don't know.
It's a bit like when guys are like, go, oh, I won such and such. You're like, bro, there was no one in your class.
Yeah.
Like, what did you win?
I think we talked about this before, but I wanted quickly. What would you, if you turned up to your first show that you got coming up and there was no one in your category and you won? How would you say that?
I would ask, can I get moved?
Okay.
I'm not doing all this dieting to go on stage and be handed a medal that I haven't earned.
Oh, it's the worst, man.
And then I'm not going to go and say, oh, I won. Well, yeah, of course you won, but you didn't win.
Yeah. Well, if I feel that this could happen for Louis, you know, with Lou, he like Lou has tried so hard for so many years. I really want him to get a good show with a good level of competition and get that win that he's like desperate for. I really worry that he's going to get a win because when you go to class 1, there is less class 1 dudes than all others.
Yeah.
So he's been working now for 7. Yeah, he started competing in 2016, 17, like 6-7 years. You know, and if he gets a win like that, it's going to be like, oh man. Same for you.
Or do you think he's going to take it like I won?
I don't know. I think deep down he won't be satisfied, but he's going to take the win because it's a fucking win. But
is it though?
Well,
it's not
a win, as in you've got a trophy and you did come first. But I know that.
Okay, let's say you decide tomorrow, fuck this, I don't want these swords. Fuck that, I don't want him. You chuck him in the bin, right? The bin man comes in and is like, oh, sweet, a sword. And it's like, shows that, like, hands in his house. And it's like, you know, it's like, is that really like, is that an achievement?
No. Yeah, there wouldn't be any satisfaction from that, would there?
No.
I get that. Well, I kind of feel that way. So Martin, with me, so we've talked about the potential of me going, you know, to try and get an IFBB pro card. And he was saying about like potentially going for a weaker lineup. And like, I don't know how that sits with me. If I purposely handpick a show that's going to be easy, am I going to like retire in bodybuilding, like whatever the fuck that is?
I don't think a national show is easy. No national show is easy.
For sure, some people have had pro cards considerably easier than other people.
That's just luck. That's just luck of the draw.
And that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is if I get one of those ones, am I going to be satisfied? Yes, I got the card, but it's like...
I think you will, because it's still you're still going up against people at your level. You're not going up against me. You're not going up against, you know, someone that's kind of like hasn't competed, you know, long. You know, you're still going up against.
It's like level pegging kind of thing. I know what you're saying.
You know.
Yeah.
I guess how many people are that delusional to turn up to a national level pro qualifier without at least a decent physique?
Yeah. You've got to be of a standard for sure. I think I
tell you what I do think though. Some of these like amateur Olympias and that they hand out pro cards to the top 3.
Oh, yes.
So if you were to place 3rd and they're like, you still get a pro card, that I don't think you'd be satisfied with.
Listen, like I know from experience that you can win and feel whatever, if you're not happy with your shape, and you can come second, but feel great because you know you look great.
Yeah.
Like, so what I'm saying is winning a pro card but coming third. Yes, you got the card, but it's not the same feeling. It's not.
Yeah.
I would almost rather be my best version and just be beaten fair and square, and then that's it. I think I'd rather that than just be handed a pro card, you know?
But I wouldn't say it's easy. And I mean, like, take Johnny, for example. How many shows did he do last year? 5, 6?
He must at least like 4. It was like 3 or 4, wasn't it? Maybe, do you reckon it's more?
Bro, because I'm pretty sure. Well, regardless, he came close to all of them, but not enough to win. And you would say he's a decent level bodybuilder.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
sorry, one sec. You going? Oh, nice. Message me in a bit. Love you. Bye bye.
So I think it's not like when people are like, oh, pointless getting a pro card nowadays. It's easy. It's easy. Anyone can get it. Can they though?
Yeah, that's a bit of a overused thing. Like, oh, they're easy to get now. Like, they're not.
Yeah.
But they're easier. But no, you still need to be on level.
Are they? Because let's use this argument. Back then, you had 10 good bodybuilders. Now you have 100. You have 10 times the pro cards.
But then my argument that would be, do you actually have 100 good bodybuilders now? I would say you've got like probably 90 pretty good, but then 10 good. I just feel like there's more.
What you reckon? Let's say back in 2000, back when like Luke Sando and that was competing. What you reckon there were more good bodybuilders back then than there are now?
No, I think it's probably fairly similar. I just think there's a lot more average people now.
I don't know. I think because there's so many guys, and I mean, you look on Instagram, you think, oh, this person's good, this person's good.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
No, you're probably right. I think there is more overall now. That's a hard question. And I feel like that would divide the audience. If you were to put that out there, was the standard better before or now? I don't know. I think where there's so many now, people's opinions get clouded because they think, oh, there's a load of shit. And it's like, well, no, there's still some really good guys.
Yeah.
And do you know what else we do in the past? Like what we always do, I do it as well. We see things with rose-tinted glasses. So when you hear the name Luke Sando, immediately you think, fucking hell, he's ridiculous. But look, don't get me wrong, he was really, really good when he was an amateur, but he wasn't unbeatable.
No.
But what we do, especially because he's passed away now, rest in peace, but what we do is we immortalize these people. We're like, oh, he was like, oh, fucking ridiculous. But the reality is, back in 2015, he was probably good, but not like the level that we think of in our head.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
I know what you mean. Yeah. You almost kind of like big him up more than.
Yes. And that's not to say, because he was outstanding. He was in his heyday, right? But I'm talking before he got his pro card. Was he like, was he that much better than, for example, I don't know, think of someone.
He had a lot of shape. He had a nice shape and a lot of muscle, but he was soft. To start.
It's interesting. These matchups. Do you ever watch on YouTube Mark's Max Muscle?
I probably have, but
so basically, what he does, he specializes in doing like side by sides. So he'll do like Dorian Yates 1992 versus Nick Walker 2022.
I've seen videos like that. Yeah.
And he does it pose for pose, and it's actually really good. I love watching it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
there's one called not the Terminator. What is it called?
Superset Man.
The Tominator.
Tominator. Yeah.
You compare shows and things like that. Yeah. But you can't compare that though, because the lighting's different back then. Yes. Like things were just not the same.
Yeah, lighting, even the cameras. I think the cameras made him look more conditioned.
Of course,
they really did. You seen some of them? There's photos, videos of. It's called like one of the best shows of all time. It was like the British Grand Prix '99.
Yeah,
with Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman. Yeah. They look mental, by the way. It's like the pinnacle of bodybuilding. But I do think the camera has something to play in it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even think, right, when you've got your stage shots, they look how you look. But if I'm in the audience taking pictures with my phone and then you know, kind of then I go on Instagram and put a filter on it.
Yeah,
Look 10 times leaner.
Yeah, definitely. You have, it's a different look, isn't it? It's a different look. The PCA lighting with a camera phone, it looks fucking really good. It makes you look better than you are, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Which then you know, and then you get your stage shots, and you're like,
Do you know what the FitX stage shots? You know the ones me and Connor.
Yeah.
Everyone looks a little bit soft. Everyone.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah. There are a couple of them are okay. You know, like in our group the other day, Tom put a load of like in there.
Oh yeah.
Shocking. Look shit.
Really?
I don't know. My personal opinion is I'm like, well, they look shit. We look rubbish. But I don't know.
I thought you looked good on stage. It looked good.
Yeah, like in person, I think it's a bit different, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes we spoke about this today. Like people think that they know what they can see some photos and think they've got it all figured out. Oh, he should have beaten him. He should have beaten him. Unless you're there, you don't fully know, do you?
No,
it's definitely different.
Yeah. It's like a lot of times you see that, and people will put stuff up on Instagram, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, so and so should have beat so and so," and I'm like, "Well, I was there and I saw it different."
Yeah, definitely. It always the way. In person, I feel like it's mad. I've seen people on stage like in a lineup, and then I've gone on Instagram later that night and changed my mind based on the photos. But in person, it was clear as day. It was clear as day that they won, and then online, I'm like, don't know.
Like that guy, the one we just spoke about earlier, when we saw him in person, we both thought, whoa, what the fuck? Yeah. But when you look at the pictures, he looks quite underwhelming. Like he doesn't look, it's not like, whoa, like, wow.
Definitely. I think one of the reasons why he stood out is because he looked so much ahead, because it was first timers, wasn't it?
It wasn't a first timer show. It was the Birmingham show.
But he was in first time, or was he in junior? Junior.
He was in juniors. Yeah, he was in juniors.
I think because he was next to a load of guys who were just kind of average, weren't they?
Funny enough, he was by himself in that class.
Are we talking about the same one?
Yeah, the black guy.
Quite tall.
Was he not? No, yeah, quite tall, quite stringy looking. Yeah.
Yeah, stringy, but like with quite decent legs, like a good sweep on his
really
legs.
Decent insertions. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. No, he wasn't on his own.
Did he against someone? I didn't think
he was against a few people. He was.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My dog, mate. What are you doing? Sorry. But yeah,
should we do some questions?
Yeah, I've got.
I think the way you can cut this one out is maybe you can cut the posing bit out, because that's. Oh, I don't know. Are you going to cut it, or are you going to post a?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I do it in section.
I had mixed reviews. So some people were like, "Oh, I preferred it as a full podcast."
Okay.
And then some people were like, "Oh, I like the fact that again it's more digestible." So I think posting the entire podcast is a good shout, as well as snippets.
Okay, yeah, we do both. Right, so we go some questions. So some good, some okay, some shit. Right, first one. Would you please open OnlyFans or sell me nude pics?
See?
No.
Why?
That's more your thing, isn't it? We went over this.
No, I get that. Yeah, I mean, I just think like if you've got the look, which we do, why wouldn't you use it? You don't have to fucking show your dick on there if you don't want to. You could just post pictures.
If I'm honest, I'd rather show my dick than my face. Like if it was my dick without my face in it, I'd be more okay with that.
No, but like the stuff that does well is like guy with a really nice physique, obviously like you're, and I tell you what, not from a bodybuilding standpoint, but from like you've got those like really good show muscles, like the abs, like people like that, the abs, right. You know when you do that, like the pull up your shirt and that, right?
Yeah.
I do so fucking well.
I know. I actually had this conversation with someone else, like probably 2 or 3 days ago, about our conversation.
Yeah.
And they were the same age as me. And they were like, no, I know what you mean. If you were now my age, I honestly think that your opinion would be different. I remember being 25 and I was much more like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, fuck it.
I think next year your opinion will be different.
You reckon?
Because had you asked me last year, I would have been like, no, fuck that. I'm not doing that. But now you kind of think, well, why not? What am I losing? I work for myself, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're not. It's not like, especially you've got no kids, so most people's worry is kids, right? Or especially women. I don't give a fuck. But women typically are like, oh, I don't want to do it because I've got kids. I don't want them to find out this and that, right? You've got no kids.
Mm.
I
know. I can't. But do you know what? Honestly, like, right or wrong, I'm not homophobic. I'm not. I can't be. It kind of bugs me when gay guys, when they're overly flirty,
entertain them.
Mm.
You don't. You post your pictures and they join up. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to entertain them.
I don't know. It's just.
I get a whole bunch of Snapchats and just open them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's for me.
Yeah, I mean, I say this. I'm going to go on record and say this now. I think you will change your mind as it gets more and more popular, because it is.
Well, bear in mind, I was living with someone who had one. Like, I had been around it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
In 2019, my lodger was doing it. And someone else that I knew like really well was doing it back then as well. I was actually seeing a girl who was doing it once upon a time as well. And so I've been around it for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just, my housemate, he used to get guys go and do his shopping for him. They would meet him and they would do his food shop and then run it home for him.
Yeah.
That was it.
Shit like that. They'll buy you shit just for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Because people have these fetishes and these weird like desires that you're like almost like they want to feel inferior to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Bizarre, but
no, I'm not. I've got another one funny enough about it, but it's a stupid one. But actually, the end bit is about you.
Okay.
I heard that you opened your OnlyFans and you started it with the hammy post today because I did that little pose today. Why is Dave turning his body into a walking tattoo?
Well,
it's not exactly overnight. He's been doing it for ages.
I know. I just like tattoo. It's my thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the whole bodybuilder tattooed, you know. It's like because the way I think of it is, I'll never be like your level competitive bodybuilder. It's not of interest of mine like it is for you. Like that's your thing. It's almost like not like your entire life, but it's a huge part of your life. Like being better every year, and for me, it's kind of like bodybuilding is a big part of my life. I love bodybuilding, but equally, I kind of want that look where it doesn't complement bodybuilding.
Yeah, I get that. When did you get your first one?
On my 18th.
Did you? What was it?
I booked it 2 weeks before, and because the guy was like, "Oh yeah, like obviously you got to be 18." I was like, "Yeah, well I am." In the day I booked it, so I'm like, I want it on that day. It was the wings on my biceps, which I haven't got anymore.
Shit, yeah. And how many do you think you've got now? It's hard to really tell, isn't it? Because can you tell? How many? Do you know how many hours you've done?
Bro, fuck no. It's especially because I've got so much cover up work. I mean, this arm, the blackout, and there's so much cover up that
there's like hundreds of hours going into that, right?
Hundreds. Oh yeah,
easy, yeah.
I mean, just in my head, there's probably about 40 odd, 40 to 50.
Yeah. Well,
I just like that freaky tattooed bodybuilder look. That's what I want. Like, you know, when you're like so big and you're walking and people looking at you and you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, mate. Sorry, one second. My fucking dog. Wait. No. Oh yeah. Right. Next question. Oh, that's actually something we've already talked about. Would you ever go for an IFBB card? Yeah, I'm 7 weeks away from trying.
How many shows you got planned?
You know, yeah, that's not true. So, in order to become an IFBB pro, this is not necessarily for you, Dave. It's for like people watching. You have to win a pro qualifier, but to get an invite to a pro qualifier, you have to do a regional. So it's like the mandatory thing. So my first regional is in like 8 weeks, 7 weeks. Then I'm going to go to Portugal. When is that? Martin posted it. I haven't got it anymore. Yeah, so Portugal, I think, is on like around about like mid-April. And then Sweden is like a week later. So I'm going to Portugal and Sweden. And the reason being is I don't know if I trust the two bros judging. Right or wrong, it's just a little bit controversial. And also I think like bodybuilding is about making memories. And I think it's fun. The idea of traveling around Europe trying to get an IFBB card is fun to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my plan.
Well, you have done shows abroad before, didn't you? So
yeah, in 2018 for PCA, I did PCA Finland, and then I did PCA Holland.
Yeah,
and it's good, mate. It's really good, like really good experience.
Oh, yeah.
I would never have gone to Finland. Like, why would you ever normally go to Finland? So yeah, it's cool. So yeah, I think I'm going to do those
two, and then if you got anything like, obviously, if you have to.
It kind of depends how they go, because I know what I'm like, and I think you know what I'm like as well. I'm a bit of a baby. I throw my toys out the pram like quite easy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I can be mature enough that even if I don't get what I want, I can just be like, it's all good, and just carry on.
Yeah. I think if you know that let's say you go to that first show, the first pro qualifier, and you're like, right, I look my best. I look the best I've ever looked.
Yeah.
And I won't bring anything better.
Yeah.
Unless I go up in a weaker lineup.
Right, yeah.
At that point, you're going to think, well, I don't want to do that. I want to be... But I think at that point, it's almost like I said, it's luck. I mean, look at Nathan Styles, right? He goes to one show. He
last.
Last,
he came
right?
last, and then won it 2 weeks later. When he
2 weeks later, wins it. It's like, can you be that different in 2 weeks? I don't think so.
No, I agree. Well, I mean, you can be... Do you know what, bro? If you mess up a peak, it can literally take off like 10 to 20% on your physique. Like, for sure. Imagine
you're a bodybuilder that has peaked over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So you know what a peak should be, how a peak should look.
Yeah, you're right. But like, do you know what? Sometimes your body doesn't respond the same way. Like, there's external factors that come into play as well.
Okay,
You know,
so
like,
what are two peaks that you've done? Like, okay, what was the peak you did for this year? For, say, I don't know, any of the, because like, compare the shows from like, say, first to kind of last. What was the peak that you did for the FitX? Because that was your first. No, you did.
Yeah, so I can tell you, I can round it up pretty well, actually. So we actually spoke about this in the last podcast with Ryan. FitX was 1 week before PCA.
Yeah.
So for this one, we didn't want to do anything too harsh, because if we do something too harsh, it's going to fuck this one up. So we wanted a smooth one through. So the FitX peak was more modest. There was no diuretics used, and there was just a 2-day load. I was loading like 1,000 grams of carbs for 2 days in a row, which for me, that's not that much.
No.
I won the show, won the overall, but the feedback was from a few people in the crowd was like, you were a little bit flat. You were a little bit, you could have been fuller.
Did you do anything with water and salt and?
Well, Martin always cuts out water. So from about 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., he says, have your last bit of water, and then after that, you're just drinking with each meal, like around 200 milliliters of each meal.
Yeah. Do you find that, obviously that works for you, but do you find some bodybuilders need water? Some bodybuilders need to have the water in?
Yeah, it's quite controversial, isn't it? Because some people will say you do, some people say you don't. I've done both, and the better result for me was cutting it out.
Okay.
Yeah. For PCA was similar, but we loaded for 3 days, and we used diuretics. So we used I can't remember what, diazide.
Okay.
We used half a diazide in the night before, and then a quarter diazide the morning of. But we went hard with food. Like, I've never eaten that much food before a show. It was crazy. Like the day before the show.
The universe you're talking about?
No, the one that you were at, the Exeter show.
Oh, okay.
Bro, because I stayed at Martin's house. Martin lives in Plymouth.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And I got there, so I'd already been loading for 2 days. So this was the third day loading, and he was like, "Right, okay, cool, eat all your food, and then we'll have a Five Guys at the end." So at this point, I'm already on 1,000 grams of carbs.
yeah.
Then we had a Five Guys on top, so it's like another 200, 150, 200 grams of carbs. Then on top of that, a bowl of cream of rice, 150 grams of cream of rice. Then on top of that, 3 bagels. So at this point, bro, I have never experienced anything like it. My stomach was flat as a pancake. Guides on, mate. Fucking it. It was nuts. Martin kept every time I was eating, he was walking over to me and grabbing my stomach.
Yeah,
and he was like, he's like, you can have more. You can have more.
That's probably though because you go that far down. You know, when people are not in shape, and then they're like loading.
Yes. No. Why? Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've never experienced anything like it. This is why it was probably my most favorite show I've ever done. It was just like this experience I've never felt before. I felt completely...
Well, I think at that show, you didn't really have much competition. It wasn't like...
Yeah, there was Johnny Reed, and there was the guy who came second.
Dan, he calls himself Density Dan or something.
Density Dan, yeah.
He's just really short. He's not really pleasing.
He's very thick, but yeah, he's not...
Very, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so I felt completely empty, but I'd had 1,500 grams of carbs. It was just so weird, mate. So fucking weird.
But prior to that, then you were probably just dieting on like nothing.
Yeah, I did like basically just protein fat. Yeah, I did I was having 50 grams of cashew nuts and steak basically. And some green veg. So that was what I was doing for a few days before. So my body was primed. Anyway, and then the universe, I did a 4-day load. I was eating 1,000 grams of carbs every day. And that was my best ever condition that I've ever been in. So, yeah. That was the first time my glutes were like really straight in on stage.
Yeah, but you were doing a lot of cardio then as well. You were on the Stairmaster.
Well, actually, he actually cut my cardio out 2 weeks out. So 2 weeks out, he stopped all cardio. So between Exeter and Universe, there was 3 weeks. So after the Exeter show, I did like about another 5 cardio sessions and then no cardio at all.
Right.
So for then 2 weeks, it was just chill.
Yeah.
So I was training, but he said, don't do anything too extreme. Just ease yourself in.
So every peak seems like it's different. Because you've had a 2-day load, a 3-day load, and a 4-day load.
Yeah. They're all the same, but larger or smaller. Does that make sense? Like, so the types of food, the water manipulation, the electrolyte balance, so I was using Peak Max as well, and the water tablets, what are they called? Expel.
Right.
Yeah, water Expel. So I was using them. So it's the same type of Peak, but just bigger and smaller. So... yeah, so I don't know how we got to that point. Where were we talking about that? But yeah, IFBB. I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, but I think Martin said he was going to travel with me. So if I go abroad, Martin will come as well. So
he always does, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he does for his guys that he actually believes have got a chance. You know, like if I didn't have a chance and I was going abroad, I don't know if he would.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're one of the guys, so
yeah,
it will be.
So, it'd be good, man. I'm fucking buzzing about it, to be honest with you, mate. I fucking can't wait.
That's a good feeling, though. I'm exactly the same way at the minute now.
Yeah.
Obviously, with a fuss, I think it's because we're of our circle where we're kind of all in prep and we're all kind of sharing that same.
It's nice to hear you like this because with you, by your own admission, it's never been like. Whatever for you, but now you're actually like buzzing about it, like you're really into it.
I think it's because we're doing this.
Like,
I think that's what does that.
What this you mean?
As a whole, we have all these really good guys, and we always and kind of like our circle, like where we all kind of like talk about bodybuilding every day, and it's different when you're kind of just by yourself on your own. It's not as
I know what you mean.
I don't know. It's really kind of supportive.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Well, what's changed for you, like in terms of prep? Has there been any like adjustments or anything like that?
So last week we went. I dropped 6 pounds because we're quite harsh on the diet, quite harsh on the cardio. So steps went from 10 to 12, and cardio went from 40 to 50. So it went up. So I think he's ramping it to then kind of drop.
And how much you lost? 6 pounds last week. Shit, that's quite a lot in a week. What's that in kilo? I've lost 3.3 kilos this week. Last Wednesday to this
That's
Wednesday.
like 8 pounds.
I've lost 8 pounds since Wednesday last week.
Yeah,
it's dropping off me now. It's fucking crazy. But I feel it. I feel very tight now.
I was saying that to him because he was like, "How do you feel?" And I said, like, I get to a point where for me I could be 260 and I can drop from 260 to 230 in a matter of a month.
Yeah.
Right. But then from that point, I don't drop much. Like to get that next 10 pounds is really difficult.
Oh, mate, this is like not a thing that I can even back with science. I can't scientifically tell you why this happens other than there's less to come off. But my body drops to a point and then it pretty much stays, but my condition keeps getting better.
Yeah.
It's
so
weird.
This is why, like, I'm not like, because he always kind of like thinks, what do you think? Like before. So I'm like, I don't think we need to, I think let's keep going because one, my energy is really good. I feel really good. So keep pushing, because I know I'm going to get to that point where it will stop.
Yes.
So like I'm going to be dropping. I don't know if there is someone that like every week they're like 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds. Like, I don't think that works like that.
No, and I think the closer you get to a condition, that it stops coming off. It doesn't. You can't just keep losing like 3 a week. If you lost 3 a week, you'd end up being like 180 or something. Like it's not going to happen, right? There has to be a point where it just stops. So
yeah, but then again, I think I'm kind of on track because for 10 week out, you're talking. I've still probably got another 30 pounds to come, 25 maybe to come off. Well, I don't know.
Talking about how much to come off, how much do you reckon Louis has got to come off?
He reckons he's going to be about 240.
We kind of talked about this before, but he literally he texted me the other day and he said that Jimmy, his coach, reckons that he's going to be bigger than that.
Bro, 240 is a big bodybuilder. 240 is a massive bodybuilder. You're talking like the pros are 240.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're like 250, 255, right? On
255
stage.
On stage, yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible because, look, if he is 15 pounds under what you are, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think based on his condition, I think there's more. Again, he might watch this. Louis, I love you.
We just discussed
this is absolutely nothing negative. I want Louis to win, like badly. He deserves it, mate. I just think there's a bit more to come off than he realizes.
Yeah.
There's no hate at all. Like you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd love to see Louis come in at about 240, nice and full and everything. But I feel for him to get that like diced condition, like fucking hamstrings, glutes, everything, it's going to need to be a bit more probably. But
so he said to me, because I said, I reckon I would be 210 or under.
Yeah.
He's like, no way you're going to be 210 or under. You'll be like over. I'm like, I can be. But knowing what I looked like at 230 last year,
right.
Even if I put on 5 pounds, 5 pounds is a lot to put on. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Even if I'm 5 pounds heavier, well, that's 235. I easily had another 10 kilos to come off, which is 20 pounds.
Yeah, looking at your physique, I would say, I would say it's a fair estimate. There's for sure like 7 to 10 to come off for sure.
Easily.
Yeah.
And these pictures from the front, from the back, I'm harder from the back.
You're harder from the back?
Always harder. Oh, bro, I am always harder from the back.
Where would you say?
My midsection is always my weak. I'm weird, right? Because my quads normally leaner, but my upper is softer. Then my back is like harder, but my hamstrings are softer. It's weird.
Yeah, that's fucking all backward. Yeah, your midsection is the thing, isn't it? Like around, like your stomach and like what's your lower back like?
Oh, that's not too bad actually. I don't tend to hold much in my lower back, but the lower back is not. Well, I don't have love handles, but that doesn't mean I don't hold body fat there.
Yeah, sure. I think the thing is, when people talk about conditions, so I'm going to put up what I posted today, right? People see this kind of stuff, like the untrained eye sees this and thinks, oh, your hamstrings are in.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I have this at bro. I have this at like 245. This is not
what that?
well. I'll show you. I'll show
Oh,
you.
okay,
I'll show you.
yeah. But, so let me finish this point quick. Like when you see that, the untrained eye would go, "Oh shit, your hamstrings in." Like, but there's still another fucking 15 pounds to come off. Easy.
I tell you what it is. I think because me and you, we've got quite big adductors, so that is deceiving.
Yes.
Because look, right. So this is. It doesn't say what weight it is. Let me see if this says what weight this is. It doesn't, but okay, I'll show you. So,
Hold on, let it put it up a bit more.
Oh,
yeah, your adductors are really prominent. Yeah. I can see.
How do I get to?
It's annoying, isn't it? I know this photo. I've seen this photo. Oh, there you go. Bit closer. Right. Closer. Yes.
And then this is like the other.
Yes. Oh yeah, your adductors are proper. Yeah.
But I think that's just the adductor's size. And when you've got a bigger muscle, it kind of splits from the rest. You have the same.
Yes. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're lean.
No. Yeah, there's a big difference between that and what mine is to like being properly. Was that at your where was that 245?
That's what I was trying to work out.
Yeah.
I was trying to work out what this is.
But can I just say though, that is really good for 245. That is good because some people don't get that level of detail. They don't get that,
108 kilos. So no. So 108 kilos is 238. So near on.
235, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So, but again, that's one body part.
Yeah.
I can be fat. I can be fat, like 260, 270, like fat, And I can still, when I bend over, I can still see my adductors split.
Yeah, everyone's got it, mate. My ass stays fat. Like my midsection, to look at me from the front on right now, you would say that I'm quite close to being ready, I think. Like,
yeah.
Probably 2 weeks away. Like, I could probably be like nearly there. But my ass, oh my God, it's like.
Your abs are really good, though. They've always been really good.
Yeah, genetically not much body fat there, but my bum, oh my God, my bum is probably like 15 weeks away. You know what I mean? So it's just real like mismatched. We kind of touched that before. Condition hits people differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
So on that then, like, do you see for me, I don't think, oh, I need to be 220. I need to be, because I would rather be lighter. Especially with my first show, the way I'm thinking of it, I'm like, right, I want to be even the lightest I can, but I know that when I come out, I want people to look at to be like, oh, he's in shape.
100%. It's weird. We do get emotionally attached to numbers. Like, I don't mean you and me. I mean like people in general.
Yeah.
Like you can be right now. If someone gave you two options, all right, Chad, you could be 220 and nearly there, or you can be 210 and fucking peeled. Which are you taking?
Yeah, I'll do 210. You know
what I mean? It's a no-brainer. Like if you can be absolutely peeled out your mind at 210, you're going to take that. I remember Jace said it once upon a time. He might, I don't know who said it to him, but yeah, he's like, every pound you take off stage makes you look a pound bigger on stage. And I thought that's so fucking true.
Yeah, that is true.
When someone's not quite there, they just look small and soft. It's fucking bizarre. But when you're peeled with a pump, oh my God.
And you know what? Because you're going up there against someone who is in shape. Yeah. So you're standing there by yourself. You know, when people post these pictures and you're like, fucking hell, this guy's in shape. You're like 4 weeks out. You're like, fuck me, he looks crazy. Yeah. But that's in the gym, under the gym lighting, stood by yourself.
Yeah.
You're not stood next to someone who's in shape, better shape than you.
Yeah.
Probably as big or bigger.
Yeah. Do you know, oh shit, 1 second. Hello? All right. Sorry, mate. Where were we?
I started vaping. So my mate that we train at the gym, she constantly like vapes, and I'm just like, and I was like, I look at it, and I'm like, she's like, try it, and I'm like, tried it, and I'm like, I don't want it. She's like, and then I can just watch it, and I'm like, she's like, do you want one? I was like, oh no. She's like, take it. So she give me a vape, right?
Yeah.
vaping since I can't stop now.
Yeah, mate, it'll get you. It'll get you. On prep, I was using CBD vapes.
Yeah,
It's so like when you're hungry, just to grab one, it does help.
it does help. Yeah,
Yeah, it does for sure.
I'm not even hungry. I just do it just because I don't know. It's a habit.
Yeah, it's a habit. Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure. We were talking about condition.
Yeah, don't get caught up on the number.
Yes. So this is a bit of an anecdote from me as well. So in 2018 in Finland, where I came second, I wasn't on. I didn't. I deserved second. Someone was better conditioned than me, right?
Yeah.
I was 112 in Holland. I was 114. I was 114 in 2018. Then in 2022, so 4 years later, I was 115. So you could say, oh, you only gained 1 kilo in 4 years.
Yeah.
No. In 2018, I should have been probably, I don't know.
110.
Yeah. I mean, in Holland, I won and I was 112. But again, I wasn't like, there could have been.
So something else that comes up quite a lot is when people are like, oh, I'm going to be flat, like basically like, you know, when you deplete in the last week and you're like, oh, I'm empty at 100 and I'll be 110 on stage. And it's like, no. Yeah, that means you're going to spill. You're going to spill over and you're going to watery as fuck. I think this is a bit of a thing. Like, you know, the post I did today, like people always bragging about numbers. Like in the off season, everyone's telling you how heavy they are. And you know, and everyone's telling you how much they're lifting. But do you know what? 2 things that do not matter on stage: what you're lifting and how big you are in off season. It's fucking weird. They don't matter, but we all love to talk about it. You know? Yeah. It's because there's always an argument about the 212 class where. Actually, I had a chat with one of my mates who's a classic, and he goes, "Well, if I can weigh in at 107, which is my body, my weight, and then I can be at 111, 112, you can't."
No, if you put on 4 kilos in the space of like what from weigh in to the show, what, a day and a half?
Yeah,
I can't imagine that going.
How much do you put on from say on I don't know on the Wednesday? How much are you on the Wednesday or from your lightest to your stage?
I actually know the answer to this because I documented it. It's on my YouTube. I actually kept so every time I did a carb load, I fucking dropped weight. I kept dropping weight.
Okay.
So day one of
so what was your take the last prep or kind of the one that's most like memorable?
Yep.
How did your weight go from Monday to Saturday, the show day?
Yep. Monday, so let's say Saturday show day. Monday, I was like 113. Tuesday, 113. Wednesday,
that was the universe, wasn't it? Because you were like that. I'm lightest than I've ever been on.
Yeah, I was about 113.5, and to me it was shocking because I was lighter than I was in 2018. And then I did a carb load, 1,000 grams of carbs, and I dropped 0.1 of a kilo, and I was like, what the fuck? And then the next day, another 1,000, and I dropped another 0.1. So by Thursday or Friday morning, I was down to like 113.2.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck? Last carb load, last day, I then went up. Like the last day, I woke up and I took my scales with me to the hotel in Coventry, where it was. And I was 115. And I was like, fuck me. So I put on like 2 kilos in the last day.
So if your weight stagnates, so you do a carb up and it stagnates, and then not stagnates, but you drop or maintain, do you feed back up? Do you feed more? Or would you, depending on who it is?
Depends on who it is.
It's about weight, isn't it? You can wake up and you can be like, right, I'm good. I look good.
I would suggest if somebody carb loads and they're quite a big bodybuilder, but let's use you. Let's say you carb load and you drop weight, you can almost definitely go slightly more aggressive on the next day. Because what you're doing is you're trying to like fill up your glycogen stores, right? You're trying to look carb loaded, okay? If your body drops down, that means that you were what's the word I'm looking for? Fatigued. Your body was fatigued and tired. And all you've done is sort of like brought yourself
baseline yourself.
Yeah, you've just baselined yourself. You haven't giving yourself that full look. So you're definitely going to need to go a bit more intense on the next day.
Do you think that people do that, but then they're not in shape, so then backfires? So that's when you look worse.
Again, I don't want to talk in absolutes because everyone's different and everything's different. Like there's never like one size fits all. But my opinion is, if you shoot up in body weight after a carb load, it may be that you weren't that in shape. Like have you got a client now that if you give them like a high carb day, they'll go up like 2 or 3 kilos?
Yeah. But on an off-season. So I
because they're not in shape, right?
Huh?
Because they're not in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
Meaning, like, what I do with one of my clients, I typically do a carb cycle with them. So we'll do 3 like low days, and then normally quite like dig quite a lot in like the week, and then Friday, Saturday when it's like his weekend, because he works quite a busy job. So he'll drop about 3 kilos in the week, and then you'll fill back up 2 kilos or 3 kilos off of that.
Right. But the person that you're talking about, like, or whoever it is,
but he's not stage ready or anything.
Yeah. They've got a bit of muscle, but they're not particularly. They're just, whatever.
Oh, he's a lifestyle client.
So my point is, if you are truly conditioned and you go in with like 500-600 grams of carbs on a carb load, like for like someone of your size, there's no way that you should be putting on 2 or 3 kilos. And if you do, something's up. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not in shape. It just means there's an issue, because your body should be metabolizing the food faster than that.
Yeah. And again, we spoke about
I don't want to talk in absolutes, because again, everyone's different, but that would be my concern. That would be my concern.
With trial loads, like we spoke about this before, where like you can't try that 2 weeks out, because it's not going to be anywhere near the same.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like doing a trial carb load 3 weeks out, it's not that relevant, is it? You kind of need to. I think the only thing that you could do is if you're going to do like a dirty load. So let's say you're going to load up with like a burger. You just want to make sure that burger's sitting well with you.
So this is what I used to do with Josh, like from about 6 weeks out, because we kind of come in fairly quick. And I was like, right, we can dig quite hard in the week, and then on a Saturday we'd have the burger, and that was every single week. And you'd get leaner every week,
And what that's doing is it's priming that now his body's used to that influx of that type of food.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely merit to doing that. Yeah. But how
can you do that? Can you do that yourself with the cheat meals or like the burgers and that?
Yeah, Martin does them. So before all 3 of my show wins last year, I had a burger and chips.
Yeah.
The night before.
See, I prefer when I diet to not do cheat meals. I kind of find some people find it better. Right? For me, it messes up my stomach. Also, it makes it harder for me to go back on the diet.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's almost like it gives you a taster, doesn't it? And you're like, fuck, I want more.
I would much rather know that, like, double my rice, Yeah.
I said to Martin last year, like Martin said, can you have burger and chips on the weekend? It was like 3 weeks out or something, 4 weeks out. And I said, do you mind if I just have clean food? And he was like, no, I want you to have dirty food. I purposely want it to be that way, because his technique is to fill up carb load, load up with water, cut the water, eat the 5 guys, and have a diazide, and then that just fucking vacuum packs you. So his idea is it's all part of the plan. So
there is a purpose to cheat dirty meals.
This is Martin's method, and it's always given me personally the best result. I've never been leaner than I have with Martin.
But is that from the salt, or what? Why is that?
Yeah, I guess it's like you want to basically like super full, make your muscle cells super full, like the glycogen stores, and then just because where you've cut out the water and you've taken the diazide, then your body just passes out the excess water.
Yeah.
That's sort of like,
because that's not common now, is it? It's all refeeds.
Yeah, and personally for clients, I typically do refeeds as well over treat meals.
Yeah.
Is that you do as well?
Take the piss.
Yeah. I don't really trust people to have what I say. You know what I mean?
And look, I've done that too, where because when you're dieted and you're hungry, and it's like oh, you kind of justify in your head. You're like, oh, burger and fries, but
Yeah.
oh, I want to have the fries, but then I'll have something else later. No.
Oh, bro, that was one of the worst things when I used to self-coach. That was what I used to tell myself all the time. I used to always say, "You're a big body." It's like my inner monologue. I'd be like, "You're a big bodybuilder. You need big food." So I'd then order a pizza and tell myself that I needed that pizza. It was weird. And then I'd like fucking starve myself through the week and then have a pizza. Starve pizza. Like
I watched Hani Rambad's podcast, and he talks about, he was like, because they were talking about cheat meals, and he goes, pizza is one of the ones that I will never give anyone.
Yeah.
He goes, because of the cheese and the dough, it's just shit. He goes, I do sushi, or he goes, I send people to he was talking about some Lebanese type restaurant where they do like obviously cooked with oils and things like that, but it's still not like.
Yeah, definitely. As I'm eating it, my body starts going, no.
You have the shits.
But not proper, but just, my body's
but
not
sometimes
really
it's good in prep because in prep you can't shit.
Yeah, I know. What is that? I don't even remember the last time I did it, I swear.
I got that bad last year. So it had gone like 2-3 days, and I'm just like, it just weren't, yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah, when compared to off season, when you're doing it like several times a day, easy.
I'm always once a day. Like, but I need to be that,
Or even when your food's like high.
Every time.
Really? Wow, shit.
Or like I get up, I have my coffee, I go for a shit, and then have another coffee, then go for another shit.
Oh man, I remember going up to like 8,000 calories once, and I was like shitting about 4 or 5 times a day. It's like,
really? Yeah, that's better though. That's better if you can do that.
Well, yes, I know. It felt like I wasn't really taking in the food. Like it was just passing through. I felt like I was like taking quality food. You know what I mean?
That could be it. That could be like almost like you're not absorbing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's passing through too fast. And if it passes through too fast, you're not getting all the nutrients from it. And therefore, the chain of events, recovery's worse, training's worse, sleep's worse.
Yeah.
Everything's worse,